All right,
Nice.
man. I think
That's
we can
awesome.
get going.
Cool. Okay, guys, thanks so much for joining us here today. Really excited to spend the next hour and change with you guys, maybe up to an hour and a half if we have lots of questions and go into stuff in a bit more detail, but hour to an hour and a half with you guys talking about recruiting and hiring. So should be good. Couple sort of like, I guess, housekeeping things. Questions, please put in the chat box. Eric is going to monitor that and sort of bring them up, and we'll try to answer them as well as we can as we go throughout stuff. So please just put that there, and we'll keep our eye on it and make sure your guys' specific questions get answered. So without further ado, I'm going to hop into it, share screens here and show you guys the PowerPoint, and we'll get going. Okay. You see that, Eric?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. How to attract and hire Rockstar staff. Let's do this. So, couple things. Just want to speak to like the purpose of doing this and the importance of good people in business, specifically service and painting. Like, I think it's important to realize we are in a service business. So all you guys are painting contractors at different stages. And as much as we brand ourselves differently and sort of promote our product and service differently, I think it's interesting to note, like, we are all basically doing iterations of fundamentally the same thing, right? And our competitive advantage, like a lot of that competitive advantage lies in the people that we have doing the work or the service that we provide. So this is a huge, huge way to separate yourself from your competitors. I'd be curious to know, I think I asked this at the beginning, but I want to just sort of get some feedback. Who feels right now crunched in finding good people? Who's feeling pressure there? I'm assuming a lot of you. Like very, very, very few people are like, yeah, no, I got a great team. I'm staffed up. Don't need anyone. Super easy to find good people. This is a really, really challenging part of business. And I just want to let everyone know, I want to normalize that. So we work with a ton of businesses, a ton of trades businesses. And this is the most common complaint that I hear, is that business owners are stretched in finding the right staff to do the work that they have. So it's a very, very common situation. If you're feeling like you're the only one, you're not. And I believe that a lot of this has to do with technique and some process when it comes to hiring and recruiting. So that's kind of the purpose of today. Would really, really love to show you guys some tools, some resources, give you guys some techniques to plug into your business right away, and hopefully give you some traction on this topic when we talk about getting good people. So that's what we want to get out of today. Some of the things specifically that you're going to be able to do after the end of the session is we're going to talk a lot about clearly identifying who your ideal candidate is. So knowing who you want to hire before you go out and look for them is the first step in the process. And I imagine not something that the majority of you guys think about enough right now. So we're going to spend some time talking about that. How to generate really good quality applicants through a hiring funnel. So it's really, really easy to get in this mindset where you're looking for the solution, the answer to the hiring problem. And the bad news is there isn't one size fits all fix to this. It's going to be a whole bunch of different tactics in a bunch of different areas, and cumulatively that brings you results. So we're going to talk about how to build really, really good job postings, and then where to put them, how to network your own personal network and your business network in order to generate applicants. So resumes and cover letters and people that are expressing interest in working for you. We'll talk about the generation of applicants. And then we'll talk about how to screen, what techniques to use when you're screening those applicants to decide who you want to sit down with. You guys are very, very busy people. It's very important to select the right people before you go and sit down with them. You guys can just type in the chat box, who's been no-showed by an interviewee in the last year? I know not in this year, but I have a lot in the past, right? This is like, the ultimate demoralizing thing. Like, I'm offering this guy a job and they stood me up. I feel like I'm in like grade 9 again, like trying to go on my first date. It's the worst. It's a total buzzkill. So what that has to do with is your ability to sell someone to the next step during a conversion call and get someone excited and engaged with your hiring process. So we'll talk about that. If we have time, I'm going to try to really quickly go through some of our interviewing techniques, but the majority of this webinar is going to be focused on ideal candidate profiling, generating applicants, and then screening applicants and selling them to the next step, which would be the actual sit-down formal interview. Sound good? Cool.
Sounds good.
Right on. Let's hop into this. I'd love to give you guys the greater context of where this all comes from. Who is BTA? Who am I? What is this all about? Just to sort of give you guys the perspective. Breakthrough Academy, our whole world is trades and home service companies. So we work with about 200 businesses right now actively all over North America. Our big industries that we have a lot of traction with are definitely painting. We work with a ton of painting contractors. We work with a lot of landscaping companies. We work with a lot of roofing companies, a lot of contractors and builders. We work with sub-trades, really anything to do with a trade or a home service is what we're geared up to help. And our mandate, our reason for existence, if you will, is to help our members, help our entrepreneurs structure their business for growth and for scalability and for profitability as well. And in doing that, for us, is a very heavy focus on operations specifically. So I highlight that point for this reason. If you're a company out there whose sole goal is getting more sales, getting more leads, your real focus is on sort of like the front of house stuff, doing marketing, getting more leads, booking more work, there's options for you in the marketplace today, right? There's marketing agencies, there's lead gen, there's sales trainers. There's a lot of choices for that type of business owner in that situation. If, on the other hand, and I expect some of you on this call are in this situation, I'd love to chat with you further after. If, on the other hand, you are in a position where sales is kind of low on your priority list and what you need help with is structuring your organization on the operations side to have it run more efficiently so that you can do more work, take yourself out of the day-to-day, hire excellent people, put excellent quality systems in place, and really start to kind of transition from a grassroots level entrepreneur to a more enterprise level entrepreneur, that is what the BTA, like that's what Breakthrough Academy is all about, is helping people with that transition from grassroots to enterprise level. And there's a lot that goes into that. I'll just give you a really, really quick overview of how that works and how we do that. We do a 6-week training program with all of our members as they enter into Breakthrough Academy that gives them a very, very good foundation of systems and learning and training that sets them up for us to work with them over the long term. After those 6 weeks, we transition them into the full-blown program, pair them up with a coach, and work with our entrepreneurs for years, where we're holding a ton of accountability to the implementation of systems, the development of the entrepreneur's skill sets, and then the execution of a very detailed business plan that we've built out for you. It's not unlike having a personal trainer for you, the business owner. And the other piece that's really cool with this is there's kind of a soft side. There's a community and culture aspect to Breakthrough Academy that's really, really neat as well. Eric has been a part of it in the past. We work, like I said, with about 200 businesses. We work with a very specific type of business owner with the same set of values, with very similar businesses. So people are going through the same journey. And a huge amount of the value that Breakthrough Academy offers is the relationships between members. So if you're a painting business, the value of having 10 other painting businesses that are at $1 million, $5 million, $10 million in revenue, and being able to plug into those people and get insight and get advice and share your experience is very, very valuable. And that's a huge, huge part of the Breakthrough Academy as well, are the members that we have brought in and work with all the time. So that's Breakthrough Academy. If what I'm going through today kind of speaks to you, it's relevant, you feel like this is something that is really helpful and you want to learn more about what we do, there will be an opportunity to register for a follow-up meeting after this. And I'd love to chat with you guys a little bit more about it, maybe unpack this in a bit more detail and get to know you and your business as well to see if this might be a fit. So we'll come back to this at the end. Okay. There's my 5-minute BTA plug. Let's get into the content and show you guys how to do some hiring stuff. Okay. Eric, I'm gonna ask you a question here. Can you maybe share with us an experience, or tell us about like maybe one really really awesome person that you work with, a total stud in your business?
Well, real quick, just for anybody who doesn't know who I am, so I became good friends with Breakthrough Academy a few years ago. I run National Painting Group, so we own 5 painting companies all over Colorado, Oklahoma, and Michigan. And then I run Painting Business Pro, where I teach people how to start a painting company and grow a painting company with sharing some of the stuff that we do. So I got introduced to Danny with Breakthrough Academy a few years ago, and right when they were getting started, actually, and loved what they were doing. So I signed up and worked with them, and actually ended up signing up all my companies to work with them for quite a bit. And I think what they have to offer is just incredibly valuable. It was one of the best investments I made in my business. And the systems that they bring to the table, like I would never run a business another way again. And I've implemented everything that we go through in the Breakthrough Academy program. I use that for every one of my businesses, not including just painting. So it's a really high level, really amazing system. And then their coaches and the people who work there are just amazing. So I like to share amazing resources with people that I have experience with, and Breakthrough Academy has definitely been one of them. So anyways, that's why we're here. So I invited quite a few people here. So I don't know how many of you are here because you heard about it through me, or maybe you heard about it through someone else. But glad you guys are here. And Benji did mention that it's a really specific kind of business that they work with, which is really when you get into the later stages in your business, not like straight off the ground, because a lot of people coming through Painting Business Pro are kind of starting up and getting in pretty new to the business. This is going to be more when you get into having a couple employees and building teams, and like you have a lot more going on. There's a lot more moving parts in your business, and it can start without a really good system in place for operations. Like Benji's talking about, it becomes hard to grow. But with those systems in place, it becomes pretty easy to grow. And I know you guys get some really amazing results for your your people. Mm-hmm. So anyways, that's a little bit of background. And to answer Benji's question, so we have a really stellar production manager named Kyle that we hired last April.
Cool. So he's been with you for coming up a year now. How does having Kyle in your business make your life easier? What's like, give me the emotional human kind of component to having a stud in your business.
Well, so when he came into the business in April, he went right into production, and he ended up producing 1.8 million for us last year. In the only 8 months that he was working here, and really didn't produce anything in December. And the work that he produced had little to no problems. And it was the most profitable work we've ever produced with any of our production managers. And he always had a great attitude. There was never any drama. There was never any problems. He was very responsible, just handled everything. And so, most of you guys probably already know why that's great, but it really allowed me to focus on other parts of the business.
Cool. So there's a huge amount of stuff taken off your plate. Your stress load is lower. It's easier to grow. You can dump a lot of stuff on this guy, and he will handle it. So I just asked that because it's nice to hear like someone's story about like having an awesome person in their business. Now, the other question, and I'm sure all of you guys can relate to, maybe some of you are in this situation right now, is what does it feel like to have not an A player, someone that's caused me a lot of headaches, right? Like I owned a painting company, guys, just so you all know. Like I've had someone, I've had multiple people in my experience that were not A players, and it is a nightmare, right? You're cleaning up messes after them. You can't offload any responsibility to them. You're constantly having to check in and follow up. It causes customer complaints. It's less profitable because they're less efficient. So there's a very just like experiential part to this, there's also some numbers associated with having excellent people. So these two scenarios do a kind of it's a very simple math, but it just kind of elucidates the actual tangible numbers on this. So scenario A, scenario B, both companies are doing 1.5 million in revenue every year. The difference is in scenario A, their labor force, so the actual painters doing the projects, they're at a 30% labor rate. So that means 30% of the revenue that they're producing goes towards paying the labor. In scenario B, it's slightly different. There's this 5% more. So it's not a massive shift, but a slight difference in efficiency in terms of the boots on the ground doing the work. When you run this through the rest of the business and the rest of the budget and the P&L, the outcome is pretty dramatic, right? So a 5% difference in labor efficiency means that in scenario A, the gross margin is $525,000. In scenario B, it's $450,000. The fixed expenses remain the same. What this trickles down to in net profit is a difference of $75,000, right? Just by that 5% tweak in efficiency on your labor. So this is just sort of to emphasize the value in having excellent people on your team. Are there any questions coming in there, Eric, that we should pause and look at, or we keep going?
No, but I'll just also highlight that even a 1% improvement on that labor rate's 15 grand.
Yeah.
So it really makes a difference to get the right people.
Totally. This is high impact stuff, right?
So Corey, I'm not sure how to say your name. Chorus. Anyways, is 30% a standard labor benchmark for painting world?
Yeah.
Is that loaded? I don't know what is that loaded means, but I think that's a reasonable number.
Yeah, 30% is pretty good. 35 is now getting not great. If you're getting close to 40, 38, 40, you need to pretty seriously look at that. I just also
that would include the labor burden. Yeah, that would include the labor burden.
Yeah. Good question.
All right.
So when we talk about recruiting and hiring as a process, all of this begins with an ideal candidate profile. So what we actually want to do is quite literally interview the best person we have in a given role. So if we're hiring a painter, we're going to interview the best painter that we've ever worked with. If we're hiring a sales manager, we're going to hire the best sales manager that we've ever worked with. If we haven't worked with an awesome painter yet, or we haven't worked with whoever, you can try to profile yourself if you're good at that role. Or if you have to, you can think about it in the abstract and just sort of think through very diligently who you're looking for, right? What makes a painter awesome at painting? Think through their strengths, their weaknesses, their core values, what kind of experience they have in the past, and come up with a fairly complete picture of who this person is, what makes them tick, and what makes them good at the job. And the reason that we do this, this is foundational for the whole process, guys. The reason that we do this is the rest of the campaign, the recruiting campaign, the tactics we use are built around this person. And there's a shift in mindset here that I need everyone to really, really wrap their head around. Recruiting is a marketing and sales process, right? The reason people don't show up to your interviews is because you haven't sold it to them. They're not excited to sit down with you. They don't really care, right? So it's very, very easy for people to have a bit of an ego in this situation where they go, I'm in a position of power, I'm offering a job, and people should be oh so grateful to show up for an interview and bend over backwards to impress me. That is not the world we live in today. We have millennials entering the workforce. They don't care. You have to absolutely get behind the idea of selling the crap out of the role that you are wanting to hire. So we're going to talk about that a lot. Think about the ideal candidate profile so that you can sell to that person throughout the recruiting process. Make sense? Cool.
Do you guys have any questions about, well, are we going through examples? I'm not sure exactly where you're going next. I want to make sure this point gets in.
Yeah. Well, just tell me what you need.
Just some, are we going to do an example or anything on the next slide?
Yeah. We have like worksheets and examples and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think your questions will get answered as we go through this. when we think about the ideal candidate, there's two directions that we want to look at here. First of all is, what are they looking for? What are they looking for in the job, right? What excites them? How do they want to feel about their work? What are their goals? What might they be fearful of? What kind of previous work experience and biases do they have? Like really, really understand what they want in the job that they're looking for the purpose of selling to that and getting them excited about joining the business. So that would be the first direction, understanding what they're looking for. And to do that, we have some resources here for you. I'm not sure this is what you're asking. I think it probably is, Eric, but I'll just show you guys what we have. Let me open this job site manager. So let's use this as an example. We're hiring a sales manager. Our company's growing. We can't really handle the estimate load or giving quotes. It's something that we'd like to delegate to someone else. So we're going to bring in a sales manager who's probably going to start as a salesperson and eventually actually have a team operating beneath them. What we want to go through is, just carrying on with a train of thought here, is profile this person and come up with a very clear understanding of who they are, right? So this sales manager, through interviewing him and talking to him, we know what his strengths are. He makes an excellent salesperson because he's outgoing. He loves building new relationships, right? So there's a highly extroverted energy about him that makes sales a natural fit for him. Another piece that's really, really important that makes him good at his role is he's very goal oriented. So he has an innate ability to see a big picture goal or vision, let's say of $1.5 million in sales, and he can break that down into manageable chunks, like on a week by week basis, where he can now sink his teeth into it on sort of a micro scale and work towards a goal in little chunks. The other piece that makes him really good is he's very open to learning new things. He's coachable, right? He's eager to learn. He doesn't have a huge ego. So if we give him advice or feedback, his feelings don't get hurt. He's not too stuck in his ways, and he's able to grow that way. A couple things that we also want to find out about him are his weaknesses. So this guy, not super detail oriented. I'm a salesperson. I can speak to this. I am like very, very, very disorganized. Thank goodness I have my assistant Caitlin who looks after a lot of those details for me. But this is a natural weakness for me, and it's actually a pretty common one for a lot of salespeople. We'll also understand his core values, right? So he wants to know his core values. What matters to him would be offering top value to a client. He's very upfront and honest, so he's transparent. He really enjoys like new challenges. So that's something that he looks for in jobs. He wants something that's going to challenge him, make him feel out of his comfort zone, and I'll use that to sort of grow his skill set personally and in the business world. We also think through his skill set. So we know he does have some sales experience. So he's done sales for 3 years at least. He also knows how to take accurate specs for quoting. So he might have some background in estimating, in painting or in some other industry. He knows how to basically look at a project and start to take measurements and analyze the numbers in order to come up with a price. We also want to think through what he's looking for. So this sales manager, key things he's looking for right now: freedom and flexibility. Super, super important. He wants to have the ability to basically make his own income based on efforts and goals. So this guy would be very goal-oriented. He wants to be able to make more by working harder. So there should be sort of no top end. So a commission-based setup might work for this person. He has some goals. He wants to buy a car and a house. He wants to travel. He's really scared of getting trapped in a 9-to-5 job that has him stuck at a glass ceiling. Again, going back to the ability to set his own income. And point 6, he really wants to grow and learn. He's got some preferences and abilities here. I'm going to talk about this in a minute. Don't get stuck on that right now. We'll go over that in a minute. So this is our profile for a sales manager. This is the person that we've worked with in the past, and we are now looking for the other people like that in the world. Right? We're going to build a job posting that speaks specifically to this person. So that's the ideal candidate profile. To make this easier for you guys, we've given you obviously that example that I just walked you through. There's also a template that you can go through to start building this, that we're going to send at the end of the webinar. You guys will have access to this if you want to just get a little freebies to help make this process easier. So ideal candidate profile is finished. We know what this person is looking for in a job. Now the question for us is, what are we looking for? As the owner, as a contractor, what do we need in this sales manager, in this painter, in this marketer, in this office admin person? What are we looking for in that hire? So that's the second part of this ideal candidate profile. We're going to think through very, very clearly what makes this person good at his job. Okay. Now to walk you through this process, I need to introduce kind of a new idea, which we call preferences and abilities. The easiest way for me to do this with you guys is just to read through the 10 preferences and abilities that we've established here at BTA. These are the most common characteristics. I want you to think of these in a couple ways. These are innate. They're not trainable. These are the way people came out. They have them or they don't, right? Generally speaking, all 10 of these make up an organization. So any company in any industry has all 10 of these, and it's made up by different people who have different sets of these preferences and abilities. So I'm going to read through these guys, and I'm sure in your mind you will think of people that exude these traits really, really clearly. You'll have examples from the people that you've worked with in the past. So I'm going to go through them now. Tenacity, guys, is the preference to overcome challenges through pure hard work. This is your just gutsy hard worker. No matter the problem, the solution is always, I will work harder, I will work longer. Just a grinder. That's tenacity. Attainment. This is the preference to set and hit goals. So someone with attainment is able to see a big project, break it up into little chunks, and organize their efforts in a very orderly fashion to work consistently and diligently towards an end goal. Problem solving is the ability to find solutions to problems and look at challenges in a positive attitude. Precision is the preference to pay attention to details and deliver error-free work. I have none of this. I know this is one of my biggest weaknesses. I have no precision. Values is someone's alignment with your company values. So given this, if this person was put in the same situation as you, they would make the same decisions, have the same values, and have the same worldview. Really, really important for every role in your organization that you're hiring on values. Instrumental is the ability to come across to others as highly competent and presentable. This is super important for salespeople or people that are client-facing or dealing with your customers all the time. Very, very important to have a good level of instrumental. Leadership is a natural preference and, if required, the ability to be in a leadership role. Fundamental, super important as well as an entrepreneur. I imagine all you guys have at least a pretty good level of fundamental. This is the ability to stay in pursuit of a goal despite obstacles or challenges. Has anyone in their business worked with someone with a low fundamental? Have you ever worked with someone who something minor on the job site goes wrong and they derail? Like they shut down, like they're literally just like the whole, like Chicken Little, right? The sky is falling. Oh my goodness. The customer found a drip on the ground. I can't handle this. I can't do this anymore. This is just too much. Like they literally have no capacity for stress. It's an incredibly debilitating thing not to have, is a decent level of fundamental. Last two here, introspection is the preference to objectively view themselves and accurately see their strengths and weaknesses. So this would be, is somebody coachable? Are they open to learning? Are they decent with feedback and critique? And then the final one are skill sets. So skill sets are the ability to complete the job based on proper education and or experience. Now, we have a really wide breadth of businesses that we work with and tradespeople that we work with and entrepreneurs that we work with. The most common thing I see in recruiting and interviewing where people go wrong is they way too heavily value skill sets, so someone's experience, and they devalue these other 9. Right? The line of questioning is often, where have you worked before? How long have you been doing this? What tickets do you have? What qualifications do you have? And I would honestly encourage the vast majority of you, because we're all painting companies here, I would devalue skill sets quite a lot and like re-up on the other ones. We hire for personality and for values over skills and experience, because the skills and experience can be trained. But you can't teach somebody to show up on time, and you can't teach somebody to have integrity. You can't teach tenacity. These are not things that you can train. They just have them or they don't. Does that kind of make sense? Anything to
Any
add to
questions
that?
about any questions anybody has about the
Yeah.
preferences and abilities? I think this is really important to identify these and identify what you're looking for. A trap I've seen a lot of people fall in is instrumental people. They have the ability to come across to others as highly competent and presentable. And sometimes I see people hire someone for a position because of that, but they're actually better to be in a sales position.
Yep.
That happened to me specifically. We hired a guy for a marketing manager position because he was so instrumental in the interview. We thought he could do anything.
Right.
We put him in a marketing manager role and he did okay. And then we put him into sales and he's like a total natural. He sold 60% of his estimates without following any system at all. He's just a total natural sales guy.
So cool.
So you really want to know when you put people in the wrong role, they aren't going to thrive. When you put them in the right role, it's going to be natural and it's easy and it works.
Totally.
And you can hire and hire and hire and eventually get lucky, but you don't want to do that.
Right. Here's another trap, Eric, to riff on that. It's really easy to read through this and go, boy, that sounds good. Tenacity. I want tenacity. Precision. Boy, that sounds really good too. These are all really good. I want someone with all these, right? So that person doesn't exist. I'm sorry. You're not going to find them. What's really, really cool about human resources and leadership as you get into this world is you get to start to see which clusters of these are really, really important, like absolutely necessary for certain roles. And it's often different, right? So like, for example, like a salesperson absolutely needs to have values. They absolutely need to have instrumental. They absolutely need to have attainment because they're going to be working towards goals. They probably don't need to be the hardest worker. They don't need tenacity. They don't need leadership. They might need a little bit of fundamental, but not that important. They don't really need that much experience. Like there are parts of this that are absolutely critical and stuff that you can kind of do without for certain roles. And so what becomes very, very important before you go out and hire someone, this is why we're going over this, is you guys need to understand whatever the role you're hiring for, which ones of these are absolutely critical. What are non-negotiables in your recruiting and hiring process? And chances are there's like 3 or 4. If you're looking for more than that, I think you're probably asking too much and you might just always be dissatisfied. But pick the 3 or 4 that are absolutely essential. And then when you get into interviewing, you can just interview on that. And we'll hopefully get to that by the end of the meeting here. So those are preferences and abilities. Just really good, thorough understanding of how those work. Those are what we're looking for in someone. Now, back to the recruiting process. Spent some time on that. I want to get back to this train of thought here. We need to learn how to build really, really strong ads. So this would be a framework that we generally follow where we have a very catchy title that captures someone's attention, captures like the right candidate's attention. We're going to have a short company profile that sells who we are as a business, why it's awesome to work for us, why you should get excited to come do this interview. There'll be a quick detailed job description that is tailored to hit the needs of that specific person, right? So if you're hiring a salesperson, for example, you might want to outline the fact that you have administrative help who gets to make your life easier so you don't have to look after the details and get stuck in the nitty-gritty sort of mechanics of the job. So you want to write your job description in such a way that speaks to your ideal candidate profile. You will have a clear list of requirements that qualifies out the wrong people. And then you're going to have some deal breakers, basically just little simple things that somebody needs in order to do the job that they're hiring or that they're interviewing for. So if it's a position where they need to drive, you want to make sure they have a driver's license, right? Simple things like that you can sort of qualify out. Now, to make this easier for you guys, again, we have a really, really good job posting example. This job posting, guys, is written a lot of the times with with the person that you interviewed to make this. So I have an example that I'm going to go through in a minute that really clarifies this, but here's an example of what a sales manager job posting should look like. We have a catchy, engaging title: freedom to make great money and grow in your sales career. We know based on the ideal candidate profile that we did with our old sales manager, that's going to hit the right person right between the eyes, and it captures the attention of the other excellent sales managers out there. We'll sell a little bit about our company. We talk a little bit about the job here, again, highlighting the points that really speak to our ideal candidate profile. Here's some qualifying stuff. So we just put some skills, requirements, things that we need to see. You can choose to put some details about compensation depending on whether you want to or not. I'll leave that up to you guys. And then there will be a call to action that is very clear. Send your resume here, call this number, whatever it is that works for you. Have a very clear call to action so that somebody reading this says, hey, this sounds like me, knows what to do next, and they know the next step. Does that kind of make sense, guys? I have a really, really awesome example of us doing this right now within BTA. Do you have a question, Eric?
No.
We're good? We're a growing
company. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at that. I thought you meant, do I have a question? Do we have a question? So any suggestion on video ads via Facebook or other social media platforms? You don't need to do that. Just stick to the basics. Indeed, ZipRecruiter, that's where you're probably going to get your best people. Is it legal to ask for a driver's license? Yeah. If they need a car, I think check your local laws, but I'm pretty sure that's fine.
Yeah, guys, legality stuff with all this is state by state, province by province, country by country. You need to know your own stuff very specifically. Where I live, it's absolutely legal to ask for a driver's license and more. It might be different depending on your guys' situations. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
That's all for now.
Cool. So I just want to make this really concrete. Breakthrough Academy, we're a growing company. We need to hire a new person. We need to hire specifically an inside sales specialist. So we have someone inside our company right now named Caitlin, who represents the ideal candidate profile for this role that we're hiring for. So we literally sat down for dinner, interviewed her, and understood what makes her tick. Then in tandem with her, we built a job posting with questions and design and photos. Everything speaks to her. So we're making this to speak to the other Caitlins of the world. So when another Caitlin, wherever they live, sees this, they go, holy crap, this person knows me. This sounds exactly like me. Are you a super motivated, detail-oriented people person? Do you thrive in a fast-paced, ever-changing work environment where problem-solving is the norm? Are you energized in a service-oriented, sales-focused environment? Do you want to have the freedom to work from anywhere in North America? So these are questions that we've decided with Caitlin are really, really catchy to her. These would capture her attention quickly. We talk a little bit, talk about the company and sell the crap out of it. Just get people really excited. It's awesome to work for us for these reasons. We've chosen some photos, some colorful photos that speak to Caitlin. We at Breakthrough Academy with our members in our group do a lot of adventure travel. There's a huge community aspect here. And that's something that Caitlin finds really appealing. So we've selected these photos in particular because she likes them. This is for you if, and then we literally just describe Caitlin. You're passionate about authentic selling and genuinely love helping people. You love to problem solve and achieve goals. You're process driven and like to automate things with software or other people. So this is, let me get rid of this photo here. This is a very, very well-written job posting. It follows the template that I've given you, and this is just like a kind of a concrete example to show you how it's done when we're doing this. Also, literally, we're hiring this role right now. So if you read this and this speaks to someone that you know, pass it to them and get them in touch with us. This is just a good example. We have a call to action at the bottom. If this sounds like you, feel free to send your email, send your resume to Igor, who's our CEO. Anyway, that's a good example of how to do a job posting really well. Thoughts, questions on that, Eric? Are we good?
Yeah, I have stuff to say. So here's the thing, guys. There's kind of something that needs to be addressed about this. Now, you notice here, like there's a lot of selling the job. In order to sell the job, you have to have a job that's sellable. And I think that's actually a big place where a lot of people break down in their effectiveness with putting a team together, is you're not actually providing a good job. And so why should someone work for you? What are you going to do that other contractors, other companies aren't going to do? Are they going to make more money? Are they going to have flexible work environment? Like, what is it? And then you actually need to deliver on that on the back end. And so there's really no shortcut here, except that you've actually got to provide an awesome place to work and an awesome opportunity that they actually like. And then you've got to tell them about that and sell that to them. You know, this is not an easy thing to do. If it was easy, everybody would have big, giant businesses with tons of people making tons of money. But it's hard because people try to take shortcuts. And there isn't a shortcut here. You actually have to provide a really awesome place to work and a great job and be a great boss and train them well and make them money. And if you do that, it's really easy to sell the job because there's not a lot of great jobs out there. So that's where you get your advantage. So I just want to point that out because all of this is useless if the job itself isn't great.
Such a good point. That's such a good point. Thanks for like kind of hammering that home. I can add to that as well. Like when I talk to business owners who have an amazing team, they've got guys that are working with them for 5, 6, 8, 10 years. They've got a culture. So what are you doing well? They're like, I pay my guys on time. I pay them a livable wage. There's bonus structures. We have amazing culture events. I take care about them. I take care of them. I care about them. I know them on a personal level. Like they step up and own that. And that does not happen unintentionally. And it takes a lot of work, but that is something to really, really start to think about, especially if you're just getting started. Like understand what are your business's core values? What do you offer an employee? Because here's the reality of it's so easy to get in this habit where you treat your customers better than your employees, right? Because they're the ones writing checks. You should treat your employees like twice as good as your customers. And you treat your customers pretty damn well. They are family to you. So really good point, Eric. Thanks for kind of rounding that out.
Yeah. And then just real quick, just so like people have an example of like a painting business. So, and just to give them another example. So what we do, just to give you guys an example of how to attract good people. Number one, we make sure people can make great money in the roles that they have. And we do that because we have good systems. So you can't throw somebody into a job and not give them direction and a good system to follow and expect them, you're just crossing your fingers that they're going to get good results. If they don't get good results, you can't pay them well. So we make sure people are making great money. We make sure people have a flexible schedule and flexible vacation time, and it's an easy work environment. We provide a lot of training and support and growth. And then a big one is we tell people that you're not going to have a cap here. We'll make sure that there's always an opportunity for you to grow into, so you're never going to hit a glass ceiling in your career. And of course, all those roles are earned, but that's what's kept all of our team together for so long. And why our company is growing and growing is because our people stick around, because when they stick around, they get promotions. And when people stick around, we need to promote people. And that's what we are pitching. And when you start to get into building teams, one of the mottos or values we really abide by is it's two things. One is take care of your customers. Whether you're marketing, selling, or producing, just put customers first, no matter what. Ahead of money, ahead of everything, ahead of your own concerns, put your customers first and take care of your customers. And then when it comes to building an effective team, you need to put your employees first. You need to care more about your employees than they care about themselves. You need to care more about your employees than you do about you. And when you do that, your employees will thrive and your business will thrive. There's not a shortcut there. You actually but that will help you provide a better work experience if you genuinely care about your employees and put them first and make them win, help them succeed. They'll perform great and you'll have a lot of success. So I think that's another, important thing just to note real quick.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome stuff. Hopping back into the recruiting process, let's bring this back to sort of where we left off with our train of thought. We've gone through preferences and abilities. We've gone through building a good job posting, so something that's catchy. It catches the attention of the right people and actually repels the wrong people right? So if somebody that isn't the ideal candidate reads the ad, they don't actually apply. It's very specific, targeted. So what do we do with that? That's the next question in the process. Great, we have a job posting, what next? So a couple some of the things. Online, we're doing Craigslist, we're doing Kijiji, we're doing Indeed. If it makes sense for the role, you could use Monster. There's also often a lot of like very localized online job boards. So in the city that I'm from, we have one called Castanet. It's just for Kelowna, city of 120,000 people. It's just for this one city, and it gets tons of traffic. There's lots and lots and lots of cities that have their own little municipal online job boards. So look to those as well. Whenever we're posting online, it is absolutely critical to do the following: a paid ad. Pay the money. If it's $50, $100, I don't care. It's worth it to have this get views and have photos and color, and make sure that your job posting is nicely follows the layout that I just kind of went over with you. When I talk to people who can't find good guys and I dig into what they're doing, it's like a misspelled job posting. They don't sell themselves. There's no photos. It's not a paid ad. It's at the bottom of 6 pages, so nobody sees it. And then they wonder why nobody applies for their job, right? So it's little small changes to this process that make all the difference. Paid ad, colorful photos, those are best practices for the online job boards. The other active strategy that we employ, and this is something that we get a lot of traction with our guys, and I'd love it if you guys tried this with your teams, is active networking through social media. So we will coach our guys to do the following. Sit down with your team on a Friday afternoon, pizza and beer for everyone, and take that job posting and that ideal candidate profile that you have built and put them up on a PowerPoint. Okay, team, this is who we're looking for. We're looking for this role specifically. This is why it's important. I know you guys are working super, super hard. If we could find this person, it would alleviate all these extra things that you guys are having to do, make our organizational life this much easier. And generally what you're trying to do with your team is just create alignment around why this person matters and have them understand in their own terms, get them motivated to help you look for this person, right? Then what you're going to do is have them open their Facebook, and you are going to give them a pre-written message that sounds something along the lines of, hey, so-and-so, this is Benji with Breakthrough Academy. Hope you're doing well. We're hiring for a new role. It's a really, really cool position. We're looking for an inside sales specialist. Here's a little bit about the position. You add the job posting. If you know anyone that might be interested in something like this or sounds like they might be a fit, please forward this to them. We're looking to hire someone in the next little bit. If you wanted to add a financial incentive, you could as well. So that would be a message that you just give out to your team. And then you set a goal of 50. Everyone sends this out to 50 or 100 people in their Facebook network. And very quickly, you're going to start to generate some pretty good quality applicants, because good people know good people. It's a little bit closer to home, and you're getting very active about the way that you do this. I did this literally last week, and my Facebook is lighting up right now with people that are saying, "Hey, this actually my friend of mine is interested in applying. How do I do it?" And it's working. Is my point. We're doing this right now. It's a really, really, really good exercise to get in. So get active with your recruiting as well. Leverage your Facebook and the Facebook of your team and any other friends that are very well networked in your area, and get the word out that way. Does that make sense? Cool. So at this point in the process, the idea here, if we're following this train of thought, we are now collecting resumes. We're collecting cover letters. We are generating applicants. Couple really, really good. I just went through this slide with you guys. A couple good, just best practices in doing this is you are going to have a lot, if you're doing this well, right? If you're following these steps, you are going to have a lot of applicants. Like it could be well over 100 in short order. So what I want to just share with you guys are some techniques to sort through that, because you don't have time to interview all those people. You probably don't even have time to call all those people. So what you need to get good at is sorting the wheat from the chaff here. And there's a couple techniques that I would encourage you to follow to do that. Number one is the timeline always tells the story. So consistency in jobs if you have large unexplained absences in their working history, that might be something to rule them out on, unless it can be explained. They were traveling for a while. They had a family crisis. There was some reason that they can explain why they were gone. That's another story. But if you just generally see a patchy history of their job consistency, no bueno. You're going to look for the required preferences and abilities. So you have thought through what you're looking for. I need someone with tenacity. I need someone with instrumental, and I need someone with problem solving. As you go through these resumes, you just look for examples where they might have that in the past, right? So, oh, you know what? They did tree planting for 2 years. That's a freaking hard job. That person probably has tenacity. So I'm gonna rank those guys a little bit higher. So you want it to be specific to the preferences and abilities that you're looking for. When you're screening applicants, don't limit the experience just to work. Athletic experience is really, really interesting. School experience, they may have volunteer experience. They may be from the military. There's a whole bunch of other aspects of life that make them good at working, not just work experience. So widen your view on that. And then again, going back to the point I was bringing up before, personality over skill. Another best practice to do in your inbox that these resumes and applications are coming to, if you use Gmail, on the left, you can very easily create new folders. And I would go A apps, B apps, and C apps. Here's what's going to happen. You will get so many things come in, you'll just get inundated. You won't be able to keep up with them, and you need to be able to sort them into 3 categories very quickly. So when a resume comes in, you scan it and you pick A, B, or C. It doesn't need to be it's not a perfect science, just rank them. Then what you'll do is have basically a collection of your A, B, and C apps, and you can then save a whole bunch of time by just hopping into your A app folder or B app folder after a day or two goes by and you've collected all those resumes. This is just a little time-saving technique that I would really encourage you guys to use. So that is applicant screening. Any questions about any of that? We good? Okay. Next comes the conversion call, and this is probably this is why no-shows happen. This is an absolutely critical step of the recruiting and hiring process, and something that I feel not enough people take seriously. So here's what happens, right? You're busy, you're on your way to a job site, you're also trying to hire some people, and you're just kind of calling someone on the way to a project or on the way to a quote. The wind's blowing through the car. It's like, hey, we want to hire a painter. Do you have any experience? Okay, cool. Can we meet tomorrow at the Starbucks at this place? Okay, awesome, great. I'm just really busy right now. Talk to you soon. Look forward to it tomorrow, right? Some version of that. Like you as the employer don't take this call seriously enough, and as a result, they don't either. So I want to give you guys a really, really awesome resource that I just have used so much in the past, and our guys get a ton of traction out of. This is our conversion call form that we're going to give you guys, and I'm just going to walk you through how to do a good conversion call. These are, by the way, I would say 15 to 30 minutes long. They're not 2 to 5. Like, you spend quite a bit of time on the phone with someone before you sit down with someone. And the purpose of this call are 2 things. Number 1 is you are selling them on the position. So you're getting them excited and engaged and ready to show up for an interview. And you're also qualifying them at the same time. So it's like you're selling and qualifying at the same time to be able to see if this person is worth sitting down with you or not. So here's the process I would follow, guys. Calling your applicant, you do a quick intro, check-in, build some rapport. Do you have 5 minutes to chat? Awesome. How's your day going? What did you get up to this weekend? What are your plans tonight? Just kind of get to know them a little bit. Ask them about their current situation. Are you working right now? Are you in school right now? Are you unemployed right now? Just kind of get to know their situation at this moment in time. Then you want to get into some questions like this. What type of work are you looking for? What kind of job do you want? What type of company specifically do you want to work with, right? So really get into what their needs are. What are you good at? What are your strengths? What are your skills? What are you bad at? Maybe ask them about some previous work experience as well. And on this exact same form, guys, you're scribbling notes down on this so that you can refer back to it. And this phone call is not done like in the car or while you're distracted. It's done in a quiet place, and it's quite a focused phone call because the interview process has begun at this point. So these questions here are finding out what their needs are. What are they looking for? This is going right back to the ideal candidate profile. What do they want? We need that information so that we can sell to that when we sit down with them. And then you want to find out, what you're looking for. So this would be qualifying them out. Do they have the skills and experience? Do they have the personality? Do they seem like someone that's worth maybe investigating a little bit further? Step 4 in this process would be to do a quick job helicopter tour. So tell them about the job that they're applying for. Highlight the things that they might be excited about. And then also just do deal breakers. So driver's license, are they afraid of heights? So you guys are a bunch of painters. If you guys are spending, a good chunk of the summer on a ladder or on a roof, you want to make sure that they're not going to, kind of get dizzy up there and get too scared. So just like easy deal breakers to go over. And then this is the most important point, is the close of this conversion call. So there's very firm expectations set. I'm just going to run you through what I've done with some of my like painting interviews in the past. We'll go like, yeah, hey John. Okay, awesome. It's it's been good chatting with you. So I think I'd love to like sit down for an interview with you if you're down for that. Okay, you are awesome. So we're gonna sit down for about an hour to an hour and a half. Here's the location and the time. Okay, do you have a pen? Please write that down. Great. So you have that down? Awesome. I'm a busy guy. I own a business. I'm looking to hire, quite a few people, and I'm doing quite a few interviews on that day. So I just need to set this expectation with you. If something changes, I'd really appreciate being notified before that happens. When you show up to the interview, please be wearing appropriate attire and please be on time, right? The other thing that I'd like you to do as you come to the interview, think through any other friends that you may have that might be a fit for this position as well. Tell them about it and bring their name and phone number to the interview. Because I'd really like to hire a team at this time. And if you can network me some people, it's good for me and it's good for you. You could be working with some of your close friends over the course of the summer. So that sounds good? Awesome. I'll meet you on Thursday, 3 p.m. at the Starbucks and wherever. Really looking forward to it. See you then. Boom, close. So just a little bit like firm expectations with high direction where you're making it very clear what you expect from them, how to proceed. There's no wiggle room. People respond to that kind of direction. So I would really close strongly with that on your conversion call. It's just sort of something that I've done in the past that seems to help a lot. And the other thing that I added in, I don't know if anyone noticed, but again, with the networking, you can leverage applicants for more applicants. Generally speaking, if there's a job on the line, people will bend over backwards to impress you. It doesn't always work, but if you're going to interview someone, tell them that you're looking for more applicants and ask them to bring a couple names of friends or colleagues or family that may be interested in the position as well. So just a little hack that we've done, and it works really well. That's a conversion call. You guys are going to get this template. You can use it. I would encourage you to do this, right away. This is there's low-hanging fruit in the recruiting process to do well. How are we doing for questions, Eric?
I've got a few, but we're going to cover them at the end.
Okay. Cool. So we're doing okay for time, actually. I would love to just give you guys I'm going to give you a really quick overview of interviewing because I'll just try to do this in about 5 to 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Another good resource that we're going to make available for you guys is a very powerful interviewing worksheet. So I'm sure some of you at this point feel a little bit confused about how to do this. What questions do I ask? What process do I follow? I'd be curious. I mean, I wish I could talk to you guys, but I'm sure some of you have sat down for an interview across from someone and realized when it's too late, holy crap, I actually have no idea what I'm doing right now. And this person thinks I do. And you just kind of sit there and do your best and make up some questions and try to make a decision off of that. Interviewing is a very important skill set in business and something that you're not going to get good at right away, but with practice and with process, you can get much, much, much better at. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with when they're growing their business. So just really quickly, going back to preferences and abilities, remember that concept of, tenacity and attainment and problem solving and these sort of things that we're looking for in a role. When we are wanting to hire a person, as I was saying, we're hiring for a cluster. So there's 3 or 4 that we absolutely need. And what you can use is this really, really awesome template to essentially probe into people's past experience and use that information to predict their future performance. And along all of these preferences and abilities, from tenacity to problem solving to instrumental, we have prepared questions for you that make this really, really easy. Again, you need to practice. You might not be an expert interviewer just on your first try, but use this and you will start to see the patterns. So what we've prepped for you, like I said, is a series of questions for each one of these preferences and abilities. I'm just going to go over, let me pick one. Which one do I like? Let's do problem solving. These questions are all about the past. One habit to really get into when you're interviewing, we don't care what somebody says they're going to do for us. We don't care what they want to do for us, what they would do for us. All we care about is what have you done in the past, because that's what's going to predict their future performance. So every question that we have prepared here is retroactive. Tell me about a time in the past when, whatever. Here's a great example. If we're looking for problem solving, which is a really, really important thing for maybe a job site manager, it's important for salespeople to have a bit of problem solving. So for problem solving, tell me about a problem that existed at your previous job that required your attention. Well, there was really low employee productivity at my last job. Like, people were lazy. They didn't really get that much done. Okay, cool. How did you know that was a problem? Why did you need to solve it? Well, the morale was really low, so people's attitudes were super lousy, and it was a kind of a bad vibe, kind of a toxic environment. The other thing was also like financially hurting the company. So our productivity was low. As a result, the profitability for the business was really, really low. Cool. That's a really good example. So what steps did you take in order to solve that problem? Well, we reflected on the stats. We looked at the numbers first and found out kind of what was happening. We held some team meetings to get feedback from all the team members. We implemented some employee training to sort of help them with these issues that we learned about in the feedback sessions. And then we developed some goals that we got people excited about and set up to go and hit. What challenges did you encounter in that problem? Well, there was some resistance to that for sure. Some of the people obviously were stuck in their ways, they're a little grumpy, they like doing it their own way. So there was some resistance from the people. And then obviously as we set the goals, like, some people didn't step up and some people missed the goals. And what happened in the end? Was the problem solved? Tell me what the end result. We had to fire a couple of employees. So that kind of sucked. There were some people that didn't want to shape up, but that was just sort of a necessary decision. So that's what we did. But the big win for us is we increased our overall productivity by 10%. So that's really awesome. And going back to the numbers that I shared with you at the beginning, 10% productivity boost is a pretty big deal. So that's it. This is an example, but that would be a good representation of someone's experience with problem solving, and we can score them on that. I won't go through the other example, but there's basically good examples and bad examples for each character, each preference and ability that we have outlined here. And what you can do is use this template to really get into people's brains and use it to make better hiring decisions. So just wanted to go over that quickly. Obviously, this is a condensed version at BTA. We have a full 4-hour session just on this interview form to show you how to do it really, really well. But I just wanted to sort of quickly cover that and link this into the rest of the recruiting process. So that's the interview form. Eric, anything to add to that?
It just depends on how much we have left.
I have 5 to 10 minutes left. Is that cool?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have time for questions, and I got to be done. I got to go in about 21 minutes.
Okay, cool. So I'll make it 5. Recap on the process, guys. I just want to go over what we've seen so far. We've talked about ideal candidate profiling. So understanding who you're looking for before you go out and look for them. And you can do that by interviewing the people on your team, interviewing yourself, but really, really getting a clear picture of who that person is. Then we talked about how to build ads. So using a certain template that follow a certain structure, using really, really good photos and certain catchy words and techniques. Then we talked about how to generate applicants. So where do we put them, right? There's online boards. We can use some actual networking stuff. Then we talk about screening. So how do we rank resumes in order to find the best ones and who to call first? We talked about the conversion call. So that 20-minute phone call to just assess whether or not it's worth your time to sit down with them. And then really quickly, I buzzed you through the interview form and how to do that well. So that's kind of the stuff that we covered today. I'm going to sort of close out from my end here, and we'll have some space for questions and feedback at the end here in a minute. But if any of what we went over today spoke to you and it kind of hit you between the eyes and it seems like kind of provided some good solutions for you, let's keep chatting. So BTA is a program, 3 pillars, right? We're all about these 3 things. Number 1, we help our members systemize their business for growth and for scalability, right? Really focused on the operations. Like, I know as your business grows, you have questions. What budgeting systems should I use? What CRM should I pick, and how do I optimize it? How should I structure my organization with like really, really well-defined roles? We have a clear organizational chart. We know who reports to who and deliverables for every person. How do I recruit and hire? Like, these systems, we really help implement with our members. And the other piece that's big is the skill training for you as an entrepreneur. And as your business grows, you're going to get to a point where, what got you here will not get you there. And you need to level up in terms of your soft skills as a business owner, stuff like professional interviewing, stuff like professional sales, stuff like high level leadership, right? Cash flow planning, conflict management, all of these like really important high level skills you need to level up in. And that is another thing that BTA offers to our members is really we've selected which ones you need the most and make it easy and pretty intuitive to learn, and our coaches are very talented at that. And then the other piece that really separates us is there's a very, very distinct culture and community that is built around accountability and high performance. So when you go to seminars, you do this webinar, for example, you learn a couple things, I give you a couple tools. Realistically, 80% of this is in one ear, out the other. I hope that some of it sticks, but I'm realistic. I know how this stuff works. The difference with BTA is we plug you into a long-term community where you're meeting every 2 weeks. You're held accountable by coaches and your peers to actually follow this stuff, implement it fully, and hit goals in a very systemized and orderly fashion. So that is kind of a really quick BTA program overview. There's a lot here. It takes quite a lot to explain the whole thing, which is why I would really love to just share with you guys, if this speaks to you, you can learn a bit more about us at the following dates. So I'm just going to make this easy for you. We have a discovery meeting coming up on March the 14th and March the 21st. This is an hour to an hour and a half long group meeting, not unlike this, where instead of talking about hiring and recruiting, we're going to talk specifically about the BTA program, how it works, who we work with the idea of just getting everybody on the same page about Breakthrough Academy, and potentially, if it speaks to you, maybe having you join the program. So if that's something that you'd be interested in learning more about, we would love to have you there. I'm going to give you guys this. Actually, Eric, could you do this for me? Can you take the, oh no, here we go. I'll just do it. Copy, paste. Where's the chat box? Let me get here. So I'm going to paste this right in the bottom. www.btacademy/request form. If you click that link, it will take you to a bounce page where you can register for this. So if you want the downloads or some of the templates that we've gone through, please enter your name, last name, phone number, email. Tell us a bit about your business. You can ask for just the templates that we've gone over, or you can also ask to be registered in one of the upcoming discovery meetings as well. And then click submit, and we will have you registered for that. So if you want to learn more about us, please go to that link, enter the code PPB0318 right below it, and we will get you registered for that program. Last final, just plug on BTA. All of the stuff that I'm talking about drives some pretty serious results, and Eric's been a part of it and seen it in the past. For our members, an average 12 months in the program gives the following results. So our average member does about 1.3 million in revenue a year. And through our systems and coaching and accountability, they see a revenue increase of 43%, and they see a net profit increase of 66%. Those are numbers that we take to the bank. We track everyone's financials very, very closely, and we can see these stats as they come in. And it's a really, really amazing program. And these are numbers that we're super, super proud of. So that's Breakthrough Academy. That's kind of all I had to say. I really, really hope you guys got some value out of some of the systems and the process that we went over specifically for recruiting and hiring today. And would love to just kind of open up the floor to you guys for questions. I will leave this information for logging up for the discovery meeting right here so you guys can see it. Cool.
Okay.
Let's do questions.
So some questions. So I'm trying to figure out how to get the employees from sales marketing to labor force without the need to sub it out. I'm not sure if that's a question. If that's if you're the person who typed that, just
clarify a little.
What's
that? Are you talking converting like your sales and marketing people to like production staff?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm not sure if he might just be saying I'm trying to figure out how to get great employees from sales to marketing to labor force without needing a sub.
Without needing subs?
Yeah. So I mean that's just he'll clarify his question if he's possible.
Okay.
So how does this work with subcontractors or your actual painters? What things do you put in place so you attract great contractors who stay with you? I'll give my answer. What are yours been? Maybe.
No, I want to hear yours because you're the subcontractor master. My experience is I've always run employees, so you take this one.
Okay. Well, then you can give the employee take. So for subs, we follow the same process. We have an ideal candidate. We run the ads that target those people, and then our recruiting pitch keeps we're targeting a specific person. And the ideal subcontractor is someone who has their own tools and equipment, has their own business. They don't want to do marketing and sales. Like they want to just sub, and they want a consistent work from a company that pays them on time, pays them fair, and treats them well, and gives them consistent work. And that's the basics of what we look for. And that's what we're pitching, and that's what we're offering. And then we want to look for people who, really care about taking care of customers. Like they take pride in their work. They want to do good work. They have good, communication skills, that kind of stuff. And then of course, we check on references, and we really manage the first few days of work like you would with any employee. Because even following all this stuff, you're not going to get it right every time. There's still the training process that needs to happen, and then just like the ongoing management stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's some of what Benji was talking about with conflict resolution and things like that. That's a huge topic with painters and subcontractors and the rest of your workforce, is how you manage that stuff. So anyways, I hope that gives you a little bit of an answer. I believe that was from Veronica. So if you have a follow-up question to that, Veronica, let us know. So Fernando clarified his question.
Okay.
Just employees to help him step away from the company. So, and Fernando, are you doing like the painting yourself right now, and you're looking for employees to do painting for you? Or are you looking for, salespeople, production management people? What kind of employees are you trying to hire? And then while he's typing that, another question was, what is the salesman percent rate of the painting estimate? I think that's, we pay anywhere from 6 to 7%. We do have some guys that are on salary that get a salary plus commission, but it always works out to 6 to 7%. So that's how we manage our budgeting.
So you pay 6 to 7% of revenue to a salesperson.
To sales. Cool. And that's for residential repaint sales. If it was commercial, it would be more like 2.5 or 3%.
Right.
So guys, if there's any other questions, you kind of got me and Benji for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Just type in the chat, like what questions you have, if you have any. Fernando, if you can confirm, clarify. Okay, so he said, I'm doing sales, marketing, labor, but it's getting overwhelming. Just looking to hire the right team to get rid of the labor.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hopefully like what we've gone over for the past hour, like gives you some answers to that. Follow an ideal candidate profile, just take these steps and really implement them fully. And I think you'll start to get to some results on that. One thing that I would also caution, and Eric, I'd have you add to this, like it's the order with which you go out and get people is kind of important as well. So think through like really what's the most important thing. What are you best suited to do? I often see people get like salespeople or they get the wrong people first. So in my opinion, you get like a couple really good painters, maybe get a really, really good crew lead or a job site manager that can take some of that stuff off your plate so that you can focus on sales and administration, and then maybe project manage for them, just oversee stuff. And then maybe I would add on some administrative help to take that off your plate. Then you're pretty much just selling. And then I would probably look for a salesperson in that order. That's sort of what I've seen be a pretty good thing for painting companies specifically.
Any advice to see through a candidate that, got a couple others here. Okay, so any advice to see through a candidate that may be lying about their follow-up to the preferences and abilities portion? So how do you deal with liars, Benji?
So that's a really good question. If you dig into that interviewing template, I'm going to open that again really quick. If you dig into this interviewing template, here's how you deal with liars. You'd have to be sociopathic to be able to make it through this interviewing template that I've sent you guys. It is so robust. The questions and the follow-up questions are so detailed that you would literally have to if you ran this interview and somebody lied to you and they fell for it, call me. You can yell at me. I totally understand, but I do not think that that's going to happen if you follow this to a T, because the questions are all about the past, right? And you have question after question after follow. Like it's very, very thorough, and you peel back the layers. So, right, we were talking about problem solving last. There's 5 questions here that someone would have to create details to fill in, which in my experience is not really possible. The reason that you have liars is because you're kind of giving them pretty easy questions to answer and to sort of BS their way through. But when you're thorough and you ask targeted questions with specific follow-up questions that really peel back the layers, and you ask for specific details and specific dates, and what was the name of that person that you worked with, and how did they make you feel, that it becomes very, very difficult to lie through that process. So that's my answer to your question is follow this to a T, and you will see, right? Like the examples that they give you are pretty loose or a little vague. The timelines are a bit weird. That's generally been my experience with this. I hope that's a satisfactory answer.
So we had another question. Any other outside the box ideas on getting people? You say stick to the ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Craigslist, but we haven't had much success with that. Love the idea of getting your team to blast to Facebook. Any other creative ideas to get the word out there? No, because I've never had to do anything besides Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Craigslist, and networking my team.
Cool.
That's my take on it. And so I would guess though, like I've never had someone not have success on those platforms. You might just want to look and see how you're writing your job posts, and try different headlines and try to make sure you're following the outline that Benji went through today. That's really selling the job. Because there's a lot of traffic going through those websites. That's going to be the best place to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like there isn't like one quick fix to this. I know it's really easy to get into that mindset. Like these few things didn't work, and then you throw the baby out with the bathwater and never look at them again. The last time you did them, you probably didn't follow this system to a T. And those little minute differences in the way that you write a title and the picture that you post and the fact that it's at the top of the page, not the bottom, it's those little details that get you the applicants. So I would revisit those again, try to follow this to be a little bit more, have a bit more follow through, follow this process to a T and see what happens. That would be my advice. There's other strategies, right? There's agencies that can do this. You can use recruiting agencies if you want. You can also use LinkedIn. There's some strategies there, but this works. You just need to follow the process.
And when it doesn't work, you just need to look and see, okay, what do I need to change? And you try again, and you change and you try again too. That's just like the nature of business. What other questions you guys have? And if you don't have a question, I'd just be curious, what are you taking out of this webinar? Like, what are the new actions you are actually going to take that you see could make a difference in your hiring process? Are you going to outline ideal candidates? Are you going to write your job post different? Are you going to print off these interview forms and use those? Are you going to do all of the above? What opportunities do you see to take different actions than you have in the past? That's the only way you're going to get different results. So I'd just be curious about that. If anyone wants to share, all of the above, better ads. All right, guys.
Cool.
Benji, you got anything else to cover?
I would just say on that, on that low hanging fruit, guys, really, really good ones to hammer home. That shift in mindset that I was saying before. This is a sales and marketing process. So you need to look at it that way. Drop your ego and really be willing to sell to a candidate and get them excited about the job at every step of the process. That's the big one that I see people getting a lot of traction with. So that would be my thing. But yeah, great questions. Awesome chatting with you guys today. So thanks a lot for coming, and hope you got a lot out of it.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, if you have any follow-up questions to the webinar, shoot us a message or whatever.
Yeah.
Recruiting painters from other companies is great if you can do that. So, yeah, anywhere you can recruit people. There's nothing unethical about recruiting painters if they're not happy at their job and they'd rather work for you. So, all right, guys. Glad you got some value out of it. You're welcome.
Hope to see a lot of you at the Discovery meeting in the next couple of weeks. The link is in the chat box. Thanks a lot for coming.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. We'll wrap up. Cheers, guys. Catch you later.
Take care.